Imagine living a life where adversities don't affect you, where external chaos doesn't disturb your inner peace. Imagine facing challenges with wisdom and calm, without getting carried away by panic or anguish. This is not a mere dream, it's a reality you can achieve. And today, I am going to share with you an unconventional route that will take you to that state of balance and strength. This is not a simple list of tips you've heard 1,000 times. Here we are going to delve into the roots of Stoic philosophy, exploring lesser-mentioned yet tremendously powerful principles. These are secrets that have stood the test of time, and few have the privilege of understanding in depth. By integrating Stoicism into your life, you are building an internal fortress. It's not that you become invulnerable to life's hardships. It's that you learn to perceive and face these hardships in a radically different way. Obstacles, rejections, failures are no longer seen as enemies, but as teachers. And it is in this shift of perspective where the true magic lies. Principle number 1. Mortality is motivation. Stoics regularly practice memento mori, reflecting on mortality. Not to be morbid, but to remember how precious each moment is. By being aware that our life on earth is finite, we are motivated to live with purpose, to value those around us, and to not postpone the essential. It's an invitation to live fully and with intention every day. Principle 2. The power of choice. Epictetus, a slave who became one of the most influential Stoic philosophers, taught us that our interpretation of events, and not the events themselves, is what determines our emotional response. Although often we cannot control what happens to us, we can always control how we respond. At every moment of your life, you have the power to choose your response, and with it, the course of your destiny. Principle 3. Embrace adversities. Difficulties are not seen as misfortunes, but as opportunities to grow and learn. When facing challenges, we are not only testing our resilience, but also honing our character. Stoics believe that gold is purified in fire, and similarly, adversities purify and strengthen us. Principle 4. The work in progress. Each day is an opportunity to mold ourselves, to refine ourselves a bit more. We are works of art in constant evolution. The challenges and blows we face are the tools that sculpt our character, that define us. Embrace each experience, good or bad, as an opportunity to grow and evolve. Principle 5. Living according to nature. Stoics believe we should live in harmony with nature, and this not only refers to the natural world, but also to our own nature as human beings. It means recognizing our own inclinations, strengths, and weaknesses, and working with them instead of against them. Instead of resisting the natural course of life, flow with it. Accept what we cannot change and focus on what we can. Principle 6. Distinguish between what is in our control and what isn't. This is a fundamental pillar of Stoicism. Much of the anxieties and frustrations we feel arise when we try to control things that are beyond our reach. Once we learn to discern between what we can influence and what we can't, it becomes easier to let go and focus on our own actions and attitudes, where we truly have power. Therefore, we free up a great amount of mental and emotional energy. Principle 7. Virtue is the supreme good. For Stoics, virtue is not just an admirable quality, but the highest good and the key to a happy life. Values such as justice, courage, wisdom, and temperance are pillars in this philosophy. Constantly practicing these virtues leads to a state of inner peace and satisfaction. Principle 8. Autarky or self-sufficiency. Power does not lie in wealth or status, but in being self-sufficient and finding satisfaction within oneself. Happiness does not depend on external factors, but on our internal attitude and how we interpret and respond to the world around us. Principle 9. Practice daily reflection. Stoics, like Marcus Aurelius with his meditations, took time each day to reflect on their actions, learn from their mistakes, and reaffirm their principles. This daily practice allowed them to stay on the right path and ensure they lived according to their values. Principle 10. Community is essential. Despite the importance of self-sufficiency, Stoics recognize the importance of community and relationships. We should act for the common good, be fair in our actions, and have empathy towards others. The well-being of the community is as crucial as individual well-being. Principle 11. Indifference to the external. Stoics teach that we should learn to distinguish between what is under our control and what isn't. External circumstances, others' comments, fame, and wealth are out of our control. Focusing on them leads to frustration and suffering. Instead, we should focus on our own attitude and actions, which are under our domain. Principle 12. Nature as guide. Stoic philosophy holds that we should live in harmony with nature, not only with the natural world, but also with our own human nature. This means accepting the ebb and flow of life and adapting to circumstances as they are, not as we wish them to be. Principle 13. Mental preparation. Stoics practice what they call premeditatio malorum, which is the anticipation and reflection on possible adversities or misfortunes. This is not a pessimistic practice, but a tool for mental strengthening. By imagining and preparing for adverse situations, we lessen the emotional impact when they actually happen and develop resilience. Principle 14. Living in the present moment. Although it sounds contemporary, Stoics already taught the importance of living in the present. Worrying about the past, which can no longer be changed, or the future, which is uncertain, only leads to anxiety and suffering. True tranquility is found by focusing on the here and now. Principle 15. Death is part of life. Stoics see death not as a tragic end, but as a natural and essential part of life. Reflecting on death helps us appreciate life, live with a purpose, and not take for granted the time we have. As Seneca said, life is not short, but we waste it. Principle 16. Autarky and self-sufficiency. Stoics value autarky, which is the ability to be self-sufficient and depend minimally on external things for happiness. It's about finding satisfaction internally and not being carried away by unnecessary desires that can divert us from true purpose. Principle 17. Embracing fate, amor fati. Learning to love fate is fundamental in Stoicism. It's not about passive resignation, but actively accepting what happens and seeking how we can act within those confines. It's the idea of working with what we have instead of resisting what is presented to us. Principle 18. Virtue is the supreme good. For Stoics, virtue is the highest good and what should truly guide us in life. Wealth, fame, and other external pleasures are fleeting and do not guarantee happiness. Instead, living with virtue and righteousness provides us with lasting and genuine joy. Principle 19. Practicing detachment. Stoicism teaches us not to cling too much to things, people, or situations. By cultivating detachment, we become more resilient to life's inevitable losses and changes, and learn to appreciate without depending. Principle 20. Contemplation of the cosmos. Stoics often practiced what is known as the view from above, where they imagined viewing their lives from a cosmic perspective. This serves to remind us how small we are in the grand scheme of things and how brief our problems are in the infinity of time and space. Principle 21. Stoic Journal. The act of writing daily reflections has been a valuable tool since the days of Marcus Aurelius. Writing down our concerns, joys, and thoughts helps to clarify our mind, reflect on our actions, and learn from our mistakes. It's a moment for ourselves, where we face the truth of our being and learn to be authentic. Principle 22. Accept what cannot be changed. A crucial part of Stoicism is recognizing the difference between what is under our control and what isn't. Spending energy and emotions on things out of our control only leads to frustration. Accepting the inevitable and focusing on how we react to it is fundamental. Principle 23. See adversity as an opportunity. Every challenge or adversity is actually a disguised opportunity to grow and learn. Stoics believe that difficulties strengthen us, teaching us resilience and showing us what we are made of. Principle 24. Live according to nature. Stoics hold that we should live in harmony with nature and follow its flow. This means accepting the natural order of life and death and understanding our place in the cosmos. Principle 25. Value the present moment. The past is gone and the future is uncertain. The present is all we really have. Valuing and being fully present in each moment is the essence of conscious living. Principle 26. Community and common good. Stoics see humanity as a large community where each individual plays an important role. We should act not only for our own benefit, but also for the good of the community as a whole. Principle 27. Moderation in all. Whether in pleasures, anger, or any other emotion, Stoics promote moderation. It's not about denying oneself, but finding a healthy balance in all we do. Principle 28. Prepare for adversity. Practicing the premeditation of evils means thinking about things that could go wrong and preparing for them. This better equips us to face challenges and helps us appreciate more when things go well. Principle 29. The power of silence. Speaking less and listening more not only makes us wiser, but also protects us from saying things we might regret. Silence is powerful, and Stoics value it as a tool for self-control and wisdom. Principle 30. Personal responsibility. Stoics believe in taking responsibility for our actions. We cannot control everything that happens to us, but we can control how we react. Taking this responsibility empowers us over our lives and frees us from victimization. Principle 31. Cultivate autarky. Autarky, or self-sufficiency, is the belief that true wealth and satisfaction come from within, not from external factors. Instead of depending on luxuries or external approvals, Stoics find contentment in their own virtue and character. This independence from the external world provides mental strength and serenity that few can disturb. Principle 32. The art of selective indifference. Not everything deserves our attention and energy. Stoics advocate for the practice of being selectively indifferent, deliberately ignoring or dismissing what doesn't serve our mental and spiritual well-being. This doesn't mean being insensitive, but consciously choosing where to invest our attention. Principle 33. Embrace change. Everything in nature is in constant change. Instead of resisting it, Stoics encourage us to embrace change as a natural and necessary part of life. By doing so, we can navigate life with more grace and less resistance, adapting and growing with each new experience. Principle 34. Objectivity as compass. Before reacting impulsively, Stoics strive to see situations from an objective perspective. By distancing emotionally and seeing things as they really are, we avoid overreactions and impulsive responses, allowing us to act with wisdom and purpose. Principle 35. The value of hard work. Real satisfaction doesn't come from comfort, but from effort and hard work. Stoics value genuine effort and dedication, believing that through hard work, we not only achieve great things, but also cultivate character and resilience. Principle 36. Be unyielding in adversity. True strength is measured not when everything is going well, but when we face adversities. Stoics see difficulties as the true test of our soul, a moment to demonstrate our resilience, courage, and determination. Principle 37. Material detachment. While the world often pushes us to accumulate more, Stoics remind us of the impermanence of material possessions. By cultivating a healthy detachment from material things, we find freedom, contentment, and a deeper connection with what truly matters. Principle 38. Act with integrity, always. Beyond words, actions define a person. Stoics hold that acting with integrity, even when no one is looking, is essential. This consistency between words and actions builds trust and respect for oneself and others. Principle 39. Nature as teacher. The natural world is a constant source of inspiration and learning. Stoics encourage us to observe, learn, and find wisdom in the rhythms and patterns of nature, reminding us of our intrinsic connection with the world around us. Principle 40. Gratitude as daily practice. Gratitude anchors us to the present and broadens our perception of the world. By practicing gratitude daily, Stoics focus on what they have rather than what they lack, cultivating a mindset of abundance and contentment. Principle 41. Listen before speaking. Wisdom doesn't always lie in having answers, but in asking the right questions and listening actively. Stoics believed we should be slow to speak and quick to listen. This act not only allows us to truly understand others, but also refines our own clarity and insight. Principle 42. Meditation on mortality, memento mori. Remembering that we will eventually die may seem grim, but for Stoics, it's a powerful call to live with urgency and purpose. By being aware of our own mortality, we can prioritize what truly matters and live authentically. Principle 43. Seek counsel from the wise. We are not alone in our challenges. Stoics used to seek wisdom from those who had already walked the path of learning. By surrounding ourselves with and learning from wise individuals, we accelerate our own growth and understanding. Principle 45. Voluntary austerity. Regular periods of living with the basics, like fasting or abstaining from certain luxuries, reinforce the idea that we can survive and thrive without excess. These practices strengthen our resilience and prepare us for times of scarcity. Principle 46. Evening reflection. At the end of each day, take a moment to reflect on your actions, decisions, and emotions. This daily practice allows for constant personal growth and a greater understanding of oneself. Principle 47. Accept what you cannot control. Recognizing the difference between what is under our control and what isn't, and focusing on the former while accepting the latter, is fundamental in Stoicism. This principle frees us from unnecessary sufferings and frustrations. Principle 48. Compassion as response. Instead of responding with anger or resentment towards those who offend us, Stoics practice compassion. Understanding that each person acts according to their level of understanding and awareness allows us to respond from a place of empathy. Principle 49. Life is a training ground. Every challenge, every obstacle is an opportunity to practice virtue and grow. Instead of lamenting difficulties, Stoics see them as training for the soul, strengthening it and preparing it for future challenges. Principle 50. Embrace simplicity. In a world full of distractions and excesses, Stoics seek simplicity in everything, from their thoughts to their actions and possessions. This simplification allows for clarity, purpose, and a more meaningful life. If you wish to continue transforming your life with millennial wisdom, be sure to subscribe. Together, we will explore more paths towards a fulfilling life. Don't miss out.